Oh, man. Happy March 1st, everybody. It's Friday night, and what else would you rather do than come here and talk some football with me? If you're like myself, you're watching the NFL draft live, so I got it on pause. I'm asking you if you're doing the same thing, do the same, talk a little football with me, and I'll go from there. One Pride 40, what's up, brother? Been a minute watch. Oh, dude, that is a great time, man. Luxury boxes are always neat. I've only been in one. Nothing as great as a hockey game as I'm reading a football game, man. So that's where I'm at, man. Perry, what's up, brother, man? The move to Vegas has been a little difficult. So I'm still getting adjusted. I had some issues, but I think I got everything ironed out. But I'm here in Las Vegas. I've moved here. I'll be here for at least 1 year, but the first couple of weeks here has been really difficult. It's been very difficult. So, but I'm getting everything kind of ironed out. My first mock draft is not going to come out till the 11th. There was a possibility I was going to put one out Monday. I'm not going to be able to go over everything I want to look at on the combine. I've only been able to, there's only a few notes I have so far, which I'm going to touch base here in just a little bit. Slasher, man, what's up, brother, man? Oh, man. Man, living the dream, man. Oh, dude, it's the one thing about Vegas is the weather's been perfect. During the day, it's been 70 and sunny, windy, and then it drops down to like low 50s at night. It's really weird. At night, it's completely different, but you can wear a t-shirt and shorts during the day, but you gotta wear a jacket at night. It's a little weird, but yeah, it's been great. One Pride, I'm just glad to see you, brother. Glad to see you here. I'm going to preview the AFC teams today. Just quick combine notes. I don't have a lot. Quinion Mitchell, the corner from Toledo, if you didn't get a chance to watch, he ran a 4.33. Oh, God, I am falling in love with this kid. Did really well at the Senior Bowl. Was talked about as a possible first-round pick before the Senior Bowl. Kind of solidified himself as late first round. Measured in about 6 foot. I think it was 6 foot. 195, ran a 4.33, but his body language, his demeanor. If he was from an SEC school, it'd be no question to be a top 10 pick. I think there's a chance he goes top 10. He's now my corner number one, which is, you got some players from Alabama. Nate Wiggins ran a 4.29, and this guy's my number one corner. I think he did fantastic. Braden Fix, defensive tackle from Florida State. I saw in a mock draft going to Kansas City at 32. He, I think, could go in the first round. Matter of fact, I would not be mad if he fell all the way to 32 in Kansas City. Peyton Wilson, outside linebacker from North Carolina State. I didn't watch too much of him. I've just heard some things about him. Aced the combine. There's a lot of other edge rushers that did well, but I think Braden Fisk and Peyton Wilson ended up becoming first-round draft picks thanks to the combine. And now when I do my mock drafts, I've already done a few. It took me a while. I don't have the link in the description. I will do that Tuesday, but I finally found a good mock draft tool with trades that I like, and it's free. I went through several of them. The only issue I have with this particular one is I don't like the trade feature, but you can do like a kind of a free for all. But anyway, I'm going to put that link in the description. I've been playing around. I've done several mock drafts already, so. Defensive line, linebackers, I was watching defensive back drills, and then I fast forward because I wanted to see Brock Bowers 40 time before I came live. Turns out he's not going to do any drills. The rumor is that he's waiting because he played it around 230, 230. He's saying 235 probably is closer to 225, 230. He's going to do everything at his pro day. He's not going to do anything. And I was really disappointed because I really wanted to see him. Lions are going to fall in love with it. It's actually funny that you say that, because I wonder if I won't be able to show it to you. Oh, I don't have it. I was hoping I had it. But actually, it's kind of funny because I kept on doing mock drafts. I guess I deleted it. Oh, great. I'm going to have to go back and find it. Anyway, so I went back and that's the name I kept going to Kansas City at 32. But yeah, that's a guy that would work really well. Because he inside outside potential. He's a defensive lineman out of Missouri, and that's a guy I kept on mocking at 32. Fisk is a guy that I had originally just a second round grade on him. I wasn't as high on him as a lot of other people, and then all of a sudden, is this the one I had? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm actually gonna send you this link. This is out of all of them I've looked at, and I've looked about 7 of them. This is the best mock draft simulator I found so far. It's NFL Draft Lounge. It's called NFL Draft Lounge. I've never heard of it before. It's really good. But yeah, Fisk is a guy I haven't been putting in first round mocks. I think his combine aced first round. I'm gonna watch a little more of him, but I think he's first round player. Do you think strength is important for O-line and D-line? Perry, it's actually when I look at the bench press, it's really not that important, to tell you the truth. If you're preferring just the bench press, as far as the actual strength of an offensive lineman, yeah, it's important. At the combine, I have not. It's probably the last thing I look at when I look at an offensive lineman. I want a guy who's a quote unquote dancing bear. Now, I don't know if you remember this 2 years ago, Ike Ekwonu. I just fell in love with this guy because he just had he looked like he was a tight end in an offensive lineman body. He hasn't really panned out so far. And to me, that's much more important. For a defensive lineman, the 40 itself isn't that important as the drills. And that was the thing that Fisk really, the 4.7, I think it was 4.78, something like that. That stood out, and that's wow. But I want to look at the drills. Strength's really not important because it's kind of funny. I say this all the time. I call it the NFL 20. They were talking about Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. They said Lamar Jackson played at around 210. Then at the combine, he was 215, and now he's 225. So he went from 210. And keep in mind, if they say he played at 210, it was probably like 195, 200, something like that. So it's really not that important because you get into an NFL weight room, things change. So I think that's the least important thing. So the edge class is loaded, and the cornerback is drafted. The edge class, Dallas Turner, I knew was going to put on a show. Verse, he put on a show. Your boy Latu, hopefully I got that name right. He put on a show. Pro Football Net. I haven't used that one, Perry. Pro Football Network Draft SI. I'm gonna check that one out. That was one I don't think I did. Are the Chiefs going to re-sign Jones? I don't think so. And there was a clip of him at the parade, and he said he wanted to stay in Kansas City, which is smart with his part. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't. I mean, there's so much money that's going to be thrown at him, and he deserves. I don't see it. I really don't see it personally, and it's a shame because I want him to stay in Kansas City. So. No, he didn't. Johnny Wilson, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't. Denver Gator! Welcome back, man. Dude, I'm sorry I did not call you, man. I'm so glad you're back home, man. I'm sorry I didn't call. I'll be honest with you. I've been wallowing in self-pity in this place. So I'm so sorry I didn't call you. Do me a favor, Denver Gator. If you're going to be up later tonight, can you shoot me a text? I want to give you a call. Also, I'll offer an apology. I haven't reached out to you. I'm sorry, man. Things have been difficult the last couple of weeks. So I got Funk. What's up, brother? He says, hey, buddy. And yup, when you watch O-line, you watch the footwork, shuttle drills. Shuttle drills a big one. Yeah, all offensive linemen, the strength, I don't really worry about. I just want to see how he handles Ike Ekwonu. Now, keep in mind, he hasn't panned out. But he was a guy I watched a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh, my God, this guy's going to be a monster, and it just hasn't panned out. But I always look at the footwork. How do you conduct yourself? Because there's a lot of offensive linemen that are naturally 230, 240 pounds that put on 60, 70 pounds. There's a lot. There's a former Steelers center, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. He played at like 300, gets out of the NFL, he dropped down to 200. He's literally 200 pounds. Mark Schlereth, I think he's like at 220, 230, something like that. There was a, I wish I could remember the player's name, but he talked about it, and he said that there was a Giants GM that asked him if he wanted to come in for a workout. He goes, Coach, I already lost my weight. I'm like at 220. And a lot of these guys are just not naturally. It's not natural for guys. Let's be honest. It's not natural for somebody to be 320. A lot of these guys are 240 and bulk up, and that's why I want to watch the foot drills. Like I did a dirty bulk a couple of years ago, and I got up to 200. I felt bigger, but I also felt slower, and night and day type of thing. But I always want to watch footwork because when you're a guy that big, you're not really supposed to be able to move like that. And so, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. A little love for Denver Gator. Denver Gator needs some love, man. D-line, the only reason I watched the 40. Yeah, I watched the 10-yard split, and the same thing. I want to see how they handle. Like, there was one dude, Alabama offensive lineman. I'm drawing a blank. Played in the NFL for a long time, but like for some reason he wanted to go shirtless, and he looked like he had boobs, like he was all flabby. And it's like, why the hell are you taking your shirt off if you look like that? Played in the NFL for a long time. Nick Saban spoke highly of him, but he's an offensive lineman. I know you put defensive lineman, but I remember last year, 13 minutes into the show, I'm already having a brain freeze. First, you loved him, if I remember right, Funk. I think you fell in love with the guy, the defensive lineman from Pittsburgh, Kalijah Cansey. Yeah, fantastic 40 time, great 10-yard split. But yeah, I do. He has a Liz. I think it's a Liz Frank injury. He didn't participate. I'm going to pay attention at I think he's going to be able to participate in a pro day, but he's probably knocked himself out of the first round not participating. So I didn't watch that yet. I didn't watch that yet, and I know that's your guy. By the way, I don't care about the 2020 injury either. And he's a guy that I know you've been wanting him to go to Detroit. I don't see him lasting that long. A little love here, man. God, I missed you guys, man. After retirement, skill guys put on weight. Yeah, it is. There was one running back. You probably don't know who his name was William Andrews. Really good player. Not Pro Bowl caliber. Really good running back for the Falcons. And he became a running backs coach. And it was funny. They were joking around. They only wanted to show him from the neck up because he was like 350 and it was all gut. It was the dude was enormous. Like it's like, what the hell, man? And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of linemen that just drop weight like crazy. A lot of guys that just drop weight like crazy. But yeah, you're right. What do I think of Olam? So it's kind of funny because I kept on hearing about this guy being super elite. Then I watched the worst game of the season he played, and it was against Ohio State. And he keep in mind, Ohio State has a lot of good players, but he didn't really look elite. He didn't look like the guy I was expecting. So I think a little less than him than probably a lot of other people. And I'm drawing a blank on the guy from Oregon State. I think is probably more pro ready. Joe Alt, to me, I think if Bill Belichick was still coaching in New England, I think Joe Alt would go number 3. I think he's going to do really, really, really well. I want to see this guy doing his position drills because he's a guy I think that could move up and down the draft board. He's got to have a good combine. There was a video out by a guy I absolutely love that said this was his number 1 offensive lineman. And I responded, I think he does have the highest ceiling, but I think I would go with Joe Alt as my number 1. So I thought it was you. Maybe it was One Pride that was in love with Cansey. But yeah, and his 10-yard split was fantastic, man. Denver Gator, I'm just glad you're here too, man. And I'm really sorry I didn't get back hold of you. I've been having like kind of a pity party for myself here. Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of. Fuega is the guy I'm falling in love with. And if Alt's not off the board when the Jets pick, I think Fuega will be the pick. JC Latham, I also liked as well. It's just that so many Alabama tackles have just been failing in the NFL. So that's the kind of the thing. So Brad has always moved around. Yeah, that's one thing about the Lions is they're a fun team draft. I think they're going to do just the opposite this year. I think they're going to try to move out of round 1 and do like what the Rams did and have a bunch of draft picks because they've been nailing the draft. And so here's a drill. Look at what they did last year in the first round. All right, they got 2 really good players. You got Campbell, and then you got, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Number 12 overall at Alabama, said it was a big reach. I can't remember his name. Sorry. 2 really good players, right? Look what you did in the second round. You got Branch and Laporta. Your second round was better than your first round. Your first round was good. I think you reached. I'll stand by that, but your draft was amazing. But your second round's better than your first round. So Jackson Powers. I'm drawing a complete blank on Jackson Powers. The center from Oregon. Yeah. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he goes to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just released their centers. Their center, so. Yeah, I think it was One Pride that loved Cansey. I'm sorry I got you guys mixed up. Well, it's kind of funny. So what happened is once the fire to my upstairs apartment and they moved me, I didn't really want to go back. I was kind of upset about the whole thing. The people that started the fire, I've had lots of issues with. I didn't want to move. I tried arguing like I was going to stay there. And then they're like, no, it's a health issue. This particular property just really stood out. And I didn't realize the condition that was in. The real estate agent FaceTimed me, but the connection was really bad. But it's cheaper than my current property and it's bigger. As a fireplace. The area is really not that good. Henderson, Nevada. Henderson's outside of Las Vegas, but you probably never heard of Henderson. Henderson's a fantastic town. It's kind of retired. So basically, you have Henderson, and then you have drawing a blank here. Summerlin. Okay, so Summerlin's northwest, and it gets like more to California crowd. Summerlin's northwest, and then Henderson is southeast. So I'm about like I don't know. I'm going to say anywhere between half an hour to 45 minutes away from Arizona, and you get like more to retirement community. But this area is not really a good area. I'll be honest with you. If I drove out here and I looked at this place, I would never have taken it. But I'm here and I'm going to stay here for a year. I fell in love with Vegas, and I wanted to do it, and I kind of thought that a fire and a flood was a sign. But they have some work that they're doing on the kitchen. I've been here for 2 weeks, and anyway, I got that ironed out today, so they're coming out next week. So, but since I've been here, they've replaced the toilet, the dishwasher. Now they're going to redo the fan. There's this pipe that goes on. It's all fucked up. It's all shit. And I've been really miserable because I was going to, anyway, I fell in love with Vegas. I don't like rain. I don't like snow. I don't like the cold. And I love the mountains here are beautiful. Like I have a patio. The bedrooms upstairs, and where I'm at's downstairs. The one thing that's been phenomenal is I wake up in the morning, open up the door, and it's a beautiful view of the mountains. It's just gorgeous out here. Reports are the Bears will trade Fields. Seems like the Bears want Williams. And that's okay. I'm going to level with you. You see this every year. I don't think that's true. I think what the drill is, they're trying to drive the asking price up big time. So what they're doing is that they're sending these reports out. But I think I'm going to stand by this until it definitely happens. I firmly believe Washington and Chicago are just going to flip picks. And that's what I think is going to happen. But if you're the Bears, you want to release this information because you want more than Washington. Listen, Washington didn't bring in, forgot his name, the former, can't believe I'm forgetting a bunch of names. They didn't bring in the former Arizona Cardinals head coach, who was Caleb Williams, quarterbacks coach, into Washington to be the offensive coordinator because they're going to draft Drake May or Jaden Daniels. That's not going to happen. They're going to. It's going to get done here in the next week or two with Washington. I'm predicting that, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's what that's kind of what I think is going to happen. It's just the Bears are trying to drive that asking price way up. Keep in mind, Washington has 2 number 2s and 2 number 3s. So if you're Chicago, you want to get the maximum value. Now, there's a lot of reports Atlanta would love to trade for Fields, and I think that would be a good move for the Falcons, but they don't want to give up the number 8 pick, and they're not going to. But they have the 40th pick in the draft. Washington can easily beat that, but they want more. But that's you're going to see this. This happens every draft year. There's always reports of this. It's a lot of misinformation. And ultimately, the Bears are just trying to get the maximum value for the number 1 pick in the draft. But I don't think they really want to move Fields. That's awesome. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying Vegas, but yeah, I'm in Henderson. Yeah. Lions needed more players last year. This year, the need list is smaller. We haven't got through free agency yet. After free agency, maybe we can make a better assessment. Yeah, absolutely. Gibbs, that's guy. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember. Yeah, see, here's a drill. After free agency, and you nailed it, Funk. You have to realize here's a drill. People keep saying hometown discount, but think about this. I don't know what you do for a living, but let's say at your job you work in sales or whatever. I used to sell cars years ago. Let's say your best month was 10 cars. This month you sell 15 and the dealership does really, really, really well. Then your boss calls you in and says, hey, guess what, man? We're going to give you a pay cut. How would you respond? You would go somewhere else. And every single free agent of the Lions is saying, hey, I brought something to Detroit that hasn't been done since what, 91? Yeah, 91. Hey, I'm responsible for this. I want to be paid. I want to be compensated. It makes sense. So that's kind of the way I see it. See, I think that you're going to lose a lot of guys in free agency. So I think that you're going to want to trade down because I think there's going to be a market for pick number 29. Now, keep in mind, if a lot of those free agents stay and you can work something out, then yeah, this is a good draft to move up. A guy like Latu may fall in the draft. There may be a team wanting to trade down. I'm looking at the Rams at 19. The Rams. Well, actually, it's funny. The Rams at 19, they'll probably trade that pick for a player. You never know what they're going to do. Cincinnati at 18, they may be saying, you know what, we want a receiver, but we put the franchise tag on Higgins, so maybe we can trade down. What's another team in the teams that could trade down? A team like Seattle, God knows what Seattle will do in the draft, but could a 29-16 trade happen? Absolutely. So, yeah. It's actually funny. I don't want to say too much because I do want you to watch my video, but every mock draft has been the same player to Detroit at 29. And I'm not going to say anymore, but I've been mocking the same guy to Detroit. So, yeah, exactly. A guy like Brian Allen would be perfect. Yeah. I really think that what's going to happen is I think the Bears are going to trade with Washington, and I think the Bears at number 2 are going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what I think is going to happen. And then what you have is that you got 2 stud wide receivers with Justin Fields, and then you say, hey, if it doesn't work, then we use that draft capital that we're going to get a quarterback in 2025. But I think that when you fire your offensive coordinator, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why am I firing my offensive coordinator and not getting getting rid of the quarterback as well? It doesn't make a lot of sense. To me, you fire your offensive coordinator because he's not using your quarterback right. So I really think that what the Bears are going to do is flip-flop 1 and 2, and then at number 2, you take probably the best player in the draft, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. Then at pick number 9, you can do all sorts of shit. You could trade up, you could trade down, you could draft a stud at 9. I just saw that you know what? I got my players mixed up. I think the Bears just released their starting left tackle. You can get one that is it the Bears or the Washington? Kingsbury, yeah. If it's time for a raise, I want the best raise I can get. If I'm good at what I do, I will demand it. I did demo. Okay, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing I keep trying to explain to people is that every fan base thinks that their team's going. There's a Carolina Panthers fan right now that's going, hey, Brian Burns is going to take a hometown discount. Why? But yeah, you're right. If you're good at what you do, you should get top dollar. Every single one of those Lions free agents are saying the same thing. They're saying, hey, I want to be compensated, and they should. You're going to lose some guys. And that just kind of makes sense. If Snead, so Snead is going to get the franchise tag, but Kansas City is entering a trade talks because that's exactly what they did with Tyreek Hill. And the Chiefs have drafted really well over the last couple of years. So they've done a good job. Trent McDuffie, first team All-Pro, is the slot corner. I'm a little iffy on that, but he's a really good player. Snead's better, but if Snead's going to want for 105, 110 million, which he could get easily, look at Denzel Ward's contract. He signed, I think it was a 5-year, $101 million deal a couple of years ago. So I think Snead's a better player, and he can get more than that. So he can get 20 to 25, maybe over 25 million a year. I don't see how Kansas City can afford to keep him. I would love it because I love Snead's game, but I don't think Snead. I think seriously, Chris Jones and Snead could both split, but I think what's going to happen is I think Snead right now it looks like the Chiefs are going to try to work out a trade, which makes sense. Then they may or may not be able to keep Chris Jones. So Ragnow may retire next year, and the Lions need to let Jackson walk. He wants too much and is getting injured more. You're right. You're right. You may have a whole new offensive line, but I don't want to ruin it, but I've been mocking the same guy, and it's a guy Lions fans will like. So Lions fans are naming all these big pay cornerbacks. I think Ronald Darby makes more. Oh, Ronald Darby's a really, really, really great player. I love Ronald Darby. That would be an excellent pickup. I've always I like Ronald Darby because he's a big physical dude. He can play zone, he can play press, he can play man. He's not elite, but he's really good. And you're right, that would be a perfect fit for Detroit. He'd be a day one starter. He could. There's a team out there that I really think could and seriously, there could be some players involved, But I mean, if you're a team and you want a guy, he can do everything. He can do everything. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah. Jonah's missed 9 games in 4 years, and nobody knows what his asking price is. He's not the top offensive guard available. I'm not saying keep him, but some people saying things about Jackson. It seems off. I've been, I'm going to tell you, I've been mocking drawing a blank on his name, but the offensive guard out of Duke. He's been playing left tackle. We can play everywhere on the offensive line, and he's a high motor type of guy. And I've been mocking him to Detroit consistently at 29 because he's a plug and play guy. And I think Lions fans would fall in love with him. He's not a guy who's going to be elite, but he's a day one starter. He's going to be really good. That's why I've been mocking to Detroit. All right, so let's get started on my AFC preview, but I'm going to answer any and all questions here. This is what I got here. I'm going to see if I can do this better. You know what? Let's just do this here. You guys don't need to look at me. If you guys really want to, I can get back on the screen here, but this is kind of my AFC preview. I'm going to start with the AFC East. This is really Jonah Jackson wants top 5. Oh, fuck me. Trey Smith. There's no reports that he's holding out, but if I'm his agent, I'm telling him to hold out. He's a guard for the Kansas City Chiefs under a 6-year deal. I'm sorry, he's a 6th-round pick. If I'm his agent, I'm telling him to hold out because he's gone to a couple Pro Bowls and it's just been a monster. That's what he should be doing. I didn't know that. That's very surprising. Yeah, I would too. That's a no-brainer. I would too. He'd be cheaper and probably better. So this is what happened in the AFC East last year. I'm doing all my hand gestures, even though I'm shutting it off here. So I'm going to start with Buffalo here. Basically, what this scale is, it's a plus-minus scale. What I do is a plus-minus scale. I keep it very simple. This is a fluid type of situation. And this isn't a set in stone situation. So if you see something that you disagree with, let me know. And I can turn around and I can always change it. If there's something really off. Now, keep in mind, for example, if you're a Lions fan and you tell me, you have the Lions way too low, I'm not really going to listen to that. But if you have some sort of argument that makes sense, I'm going to go ahead and listen to it and hear what you have to say because I want to know what you guys think. So anyway, this is kind of how I look at the Bills. So the Bills were 11-6 last year. I'm looking at them as a push, and keep in mind it's a push for the division. They got to the divisional round last year, and this is cracks me up. I love this stuff. God, I love talking to you guys. So they got to the division round. Of course, they lost to Kansas City. They had a lot of injuries, but they're going to lose some players in free agency. I'm not really sold on Sean McDermott, and Josh Allen has not played his best football in the playoffs, even though he had maybe the best game in recent playoff history in that loss a couple of years ago, and maybe the greatest playoff game of all time. Just came up short against Mahomes, but there's so much talent on offense. They were 4th in scoring defense despite all the injuries. I fully expect them to be a double-digit win team, but are you – and I think they are one of the 4 best teams in the AFC, but can you get to that next level? I don't know. And that's kind of what I'm wondering, Perry. Do they go all in, or is this the year to retool? I'm thinking, I've heard Stephon Diggs being moved. I've heard some cap casualties. The Von Miller contract was bad. But do I think they're one of the 4 best teams in do I think they're one of the 4 best teams in the AFC? Yeah, I do. They are my favorite to win the AFC East again, but I don't know if they can get past that divisional round. I don't know. So that's kind of why I got them as a push. Miami, I got minus on 11 wins. I think so too. Slasher says I think it's a coaching staff with the Bills. I'm not sold on McDermott. It was funny because Keys kept on saying I'd bring in Belichick because Belichick's a better coach. So yeah, Josh Allen turns the ball over. There was a play against Kansas City where if he makes that throw, it's only one play, but it was a crucial one. He had a guy open in the end zone, didn't get done. But yeah, you're right. They had so many injuries last year, Perry, and they had them throughout the season. They're playing with backups all across the board on defense. But like I said, I got them at push. Miami, I got as a minus on 11 wins. I don't know if they can get back to 11 wins, but I do expect them to be a wild card team. There's talk about Tua being getting that $50 million a year, and Tua's. I don't have any kids, but if I had a daughter, that's the type of guy I want my daughter to date would be Tua. But I just don't know. He's not that elite type of guy. I just don't think he's that guy. If I'm Miami, it's kind of funny because Pete Stakes was on here. If I'm Miami, I might go with a guy like Bo Nix in the draft and see what you can do. Vic Fangio supposedly wouldn't be back in Pennsylvania. His family lives there. And I think that hurts. I would be kind of sort of surprised that Miami doesn't make the playoffs. I want to see what they do in the draft, and I want to see what they do in free agency. But I think 11 wins is kind of their. No sound. Oh, God, I've been talking. All right. Can you guys give me a heads up? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Wasn't great. Okay, how are you? Okay. So you guys can hear me now. Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for giving me a heads up, man. The 4.28, very impressive. He's 6'2", about 180. He'll need to put on the NFL 20. But Quinion Mitchell is now my corner number one. I don't care if he played at Toledo. And by the way, Keaton Talk Sports, I'll have my first mock draft out on the 11th. Do you have your third mock draft out? If you want to, put it in the comments. So, yeah, I haven't had a chance. Things have been kind of hectic here. So, all right, thanks guys for giving me a heads up, man. No. I'm glad you guys told me. I had no idea. I hit a wrong button on my mouse and everything got all messed up here. So, error on my part here. I'm going to go here to Jets. This is kind of a no-brainer that they're going to be a plus. Their biggest issues at left tackle, and you don't even have to move up. You can stay at 10 and get a stud. I had the Jets go into the AFC Conference Championship game in 2023. That was my pick. I had them losing the Kansas City, of course. I'm going to see how they handle free agency in the draft, but they may end up being my AFC East favorite. I think not being on TV could be some things. So, but the Jets are a team that could be might end up being my AFC Super Bowl favorite. I know that sounds crazy being a Chiefs fan, but this defense is loaded, and all you got to do is put Rodgers in there, and God knows how good this team could be. This team could be unstoppable next year. Slasher says, yeah, I remember that. Sucks how that game ended. I was seriously rooting for you guys. Would you want to bring CJ back? I remember watching the first half of that game, and I already knew Kansas City was in the Super Bowl. And after watching the first half of that game, I was like, please let San Francisco come back. Because at first half, I was like, oh my God. Because I remember, God damn it. I'm just forgetting everybody's fucking name tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Number 12 pick in the draft, 12 or 11, Alabama wide receiver. He had that end around where he stiff-armed Greenyard for a touchdown. And I'm like, holy shit, if he starts getting involved with Amon-Ra and Laporta and Gibbs, and that was the only play he did. He had that 42-yard touchdown end around. Why can't I remember his fucking name? And I'm like, God, if he's getting involved, holy shit. And the defense was just stuffing the 49ers, which had a really good offense. So, yeah. Keaton has 2 mock drafts. And the second one, I love the format he did for the second one. The only issue I have is he uses PFF. Funk says, Slasher, we don't really need him. No, you don't. Branch played phenomenal. Plus, Melfonu was playing well at the end of the year. Joseph is a deep safety. So Jameson, yeah. I don't know why the fuck I couldn't remember. Yeah, so he gets that 42-yard end around. Your defense is shutting them down. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Don't be surprised if Penix or Nix falls into round 2 if the Jets take a shot out. Okay. Mitchell's now my corner number 1. That 4.33 just blew me out of the water, but it wasn't the 4.33, but I love this demeanor. He's a big dude. Like he measured in 6 foot 195. And he was, I think it was like 6'6". I think it was like 6 and a quarter or 6 foot and a half. But he's got that. He's built like this is a dude easily top 10. He played at any SEC school. The 4.29 from Wiggins was impressive though, and it'll be interesting to see. I have to watch more of him though. I don't. Seriously, I almost wonder. I would love to see JMO change teams if you're not going to use them. So I think he's going to have a massive impact. Perry says, do you think A-Rod will have any impact on the Jets? I think he's going to have a massive impact because the Jets had probably the worst quarterback situation in football. When they have a top 10 quarterback, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to be an MVP. But they just got to fix that left tackle spot. The defense is phenomenal. Maybe they get it. And by the way, in the second round, they could get a receiver. Perry, me personally, Pat's a quarterback. I like Daniels and May. Wouldn't mind MHJ too if we go that route. What about you guys? I shouldn't say this, but I've kind of ruined it for everybody. But I've been really ruining it for everybody. So I'll just kind of give you a spoiler alert because I think Williams will be to go to number one. And I think that will be Washington. I think the Bears will take Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think at number 3, the guy that I like, and he's the only one. By the way, Daniels isn't going to participate. Caleb Williams isn't even doing medical. May's doing everything, and everything so far has been plus, and I haven't seen him yet, but I can't wait till he throws. But I personally think May is going to be the guy in New England, and out of all the quarterbacks, he's the one I might like the best, and I say might, because I'm just really impressed with Penix, and I think Penix could go in the first round. I think some team could get a steal. There's some injury issues about him, but MHJ, it took me a second. It's Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think you're going to go with May, and I think your guys are going to be really happy. Patriots will be really happy. Perry says, I think the Pats need to fix the O-line, and Joe Alt's there at 3 should be the pick. Belichick was there. I think Alt would be the pick at 3. And to me, that's probably the safest pick in the draft. He has massive ceiling, massive floor. I think at worst, he's an above average left tackle. And that's what I would do if that's what Belichick would do. I think the Patriots are going to go with Drake May, and I think he's going to be available at 3, and I think that's what you do. And then you have to fix some things in on your offensive line. There is a possibility you can take Joe Alt at 3, trade back into the first round. I talked earlier about Detroit maybe trading down at 29 because a guy like Bo Nix may fall in the draft, or a guy like Penix. So the defense is solid. They have all sorts of problems on offense. Let's talk about that right now. So the Patriots, I also have a +4. The defense is really good. Keep in mind, Christian Gonzalez, his first couple of weeks, and he only played 3 or 4 games where he got hurt, but he looked phenomenal. The offense is so terrible. You could draft Joe Alt, you could draft May, you could draft Marvin Harrison Jr. But I personally think that Drake May will be the pick, and I think he'll be a day 1 starter. And I don't see New England making a big jump this year, but I do think that they'll be better than a 4-win team. That's kind of how I view the Patriots. I would probably have them as the team that finishes last in the AFC East, because I think you got 2 really good teams in the Bills and the Jets, a team with some question marks in Miami, but I think still a wild card team. Of all the teams in the AFC East, this is the only team that's not really a playoff team. That's my opinion. But I think May's going to be the guy, but we'll find out. Going to the AFC North here. Baltimore Ravens, I'm giving a -2. They are my favorite to win the AFC North, but 13-4 is hard, folks. And they had a lot of injuries, but they still won 13 games. It wouldn't surprise me if they go back to the AFC Championship game. It wouldn't even surprise me if they're the AFC representative in the Super Bowl, but I'm not picking them to win 13 games. Very few teams draft well consistently like Baltimore does. And I wonder what they're going to do, because remember, they got Clowney, they got OBJ, they signed a bunch of big free agent names, but they're the 1-year deals. I'm kind of thinking that they take a different approach. It'll be interesting to see what they did because they're a very interesting team last year. Do I think they win 13 games? No, I don't. 13's a big number. So, Perry asked, do you think Brock Bowers might fall? I do. I really wanted to see him run at the combine, and I wanted to see what he weighed at because I heard he played at 235. He looked like he was in his he looked a lot like he was 220, maybe 225. And don't get me wrong, the tape is amazing, but he doesn't look big. And I wanted to see what he weighed at. I wanted to see what he ran at, but he didn't do anything at the combine. I saw a mock draft where he drops all the way to 18 and he's chosen by the Bengals. And I'm like, oh God, that would suck. But it makes a lot of sense. I think Brock Bowers is going to fall because they're as a matter of fact, Perry or Keaton Talk Sports, if he's still there, Keaton said that his latest mock draft, he had Bowers going 5th to the Chargers. And I don't think he's going to go. I think he's going to drop into I think he's going to drop out of top 10. Holy shit. Theo Johnson, 6'6", 250, ran a 4.58. Holy shit. I've heard about him. 260. Holy shit. And this goes back. I'm gonna call him Albert O, Denver Broncos tight end, because he was similar, except he ran a 4.48. And I watched him a lot at Missouri, and I was like, I got to watch some film on him, but he never ran like a 4.48. Got into the NFL, never ran that 4.48. But I'll have to watch some of that Theo Johnson because I got it on DVR. The reason why I'm not doing my mock draft on this Monday, is I have to watch a lot more film. I got everything on my DVR right now, so. Yeah, I remember that combine. He ran a 4.48. I watched him play at Missouri, and I thought he looked like an NFL tight end, but he looked like a 4.8 guy on film. And I was like, what the hell? And I went back and I watched some more. And I'm like, he's not a 4.48 guy, but he did run a 4.48. And here's the thing. This is a naturally big dude. Albert O's naturally like 6'6", 250. He's not a dude who's naturally like 220. So, what everyone's surprising raise after the combine? Well, I'll give you 3. Quinion Mitchell, corner out of Toledo, is now my number 1 corner. I like his demeanor. I like the way he conducts himself. He looks like a big dude. He looks like a dude who should run in the 4.5 range and still be a first-round corner. Ran a 4.33. He's now my number 1 corner. I think he cemented himself as a top 10 pick. Braden Fisk, Florida State defensive tackle, looks amazing. I've seen a couple mock drafts where he goes 31-32, and I think he puts himself probably in the 20s now. Peyton Wilson, off-ball linebackers are really dropping in the draft. He does everything, so yeah. Those are the 3. Nate Wiggins ran a 4. Yeah, apparently before he messed up his leg or his groin, he was mad. He thought he could do a 4.2, but 6'2". I think he was over 6'2", 179. He needs to put on quote unquote the NFL 20. But he did have an impressive 40 time. I want to watch more of him. No, he didn't. Not yet. Next, I'll go to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are a push. I'm leaning over because they were an 11-win team, but they lost in the wild card round. The thing is, though, what you got to realize is that this team had such a great defense. Just imagine if Chubb and Watson come back at 100%. They could easily be a Super Bowl caliber team. The thing is that when Flacco took over, it just felt like the team looked better. It's almost like Watson took something away. It's really hard to explain. He had that great game against Baltimore, and then he was injured for the whole year. But the team almost seemed to play better. It's really weird. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer that they're going to be a double-digit win team. Can they get past the wild card round? I don't think that they're going. They're not. I don't see them going to win. I don't see them winning the division. So I think that they have to win on the road. Can they do it? So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the 40 times tomorrow. You know, the Browns are a real interesting team in the draft. I'm trying to see here. Where do they? Oh, that's right. They still have those. They still have the draft picks that they gave up. I forgot. No, they still got for the Deshaun Watson trade. Houston has that pick, so Houston's going to pick 23rd. Cleveland doesn't draft till 54. I think at 54 they're going to just take best player available, but it very well could be a receiver. So. Yeah, you know, it was funny because that game against Baltimore, this last game of the year, is one of the best games I've seen anybody play against a great defense, and then the season was over. And it's a lot, But if here's the deal: Watson comes back, Chubb comes back, defense stays as arguably the best defense in football. How good are they? They may be the best team in football. They didn't need to. Yeah, they didn't need to give up that. It looks bad, but if they win a Super Bowl, it's going to be worth it. That game against Houston, they just kind of self-destructed. But do I see them as a double-digit win team? I do. And I haven't looked at the over-unders yet, but I'm expecting Cleveland to be at like 9.5, and I would take the over on that. Oh, God, that would be a great pick. Slasher says, I see the Browns picking Roman Wilson at 54. You're right. That would be a great pick for them. That would be a great pick. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm also as a push. I don't like the fact that they don't. There's an old saying: if you have two quarterbacks, you really don't even have one, or you don't have one. If Pickett's not your guy, I don't know what you do. But if he is your guy and he plays like he's a first round quarterback, you have a really good defense. The draft was really good. But when I look at this division, I'm kind of looking at Pittsburgh as probably the worst team in this division. If they were in if they were in the AFC West, I'd probably put them at second. But in that division, I think they could be last. So, Funk says maybe he needs us. Funk, you have a good night, man. It's so great to talk to you, man. You got me on social media. You need anything, give me a shout, brother. The Bears really take Caleb Williams. I can see Fields heading to Pittsburgh. If anybody can get the most out of him, it's Tomlin. That would be interesting. Keaton had Russell Wilson going to Pittsburgh, which I thought was really interesting as well. At the most common place I've been seeing Fields is Atlanta. But I'll be honest, Fields to Pittsburgh would make a lot of sense. That would be fun. Do you think the Seahawks have a defense in the first round? I do, but with Seattle more than any other team, God knows what they're thinking. But I do, because they gave up a second this year and a fifth next year for Leonard Williams. He's a free agent. You signed another brain freeze to a big-time contract guy from Denver, who I really liked, and he didn't really do much. I got defensive line's kind of a no-brainer, but the thing is with Seattle's, they're the most confusing team in the draft, so who knows what they're going to do. Yeah, I think so too. And Keaton Talk Sports says he pictures him signing with Pittsburgh. I don't see it, but it's interesting because there's so many teams out there that Russell Wilson could go to. And to be honest with you, put him on the Steelers, how good of a team are they? But the thing is with Steelers, use your first round pick on a quarterback. If it doesn't pan out, it's a mistake. But if it does pan out and his play gets better with that defense, you have something. I've seen that too. And the best part is about that is that, let's say you put Russell Wilson in Atlanta, okay? You have the 8th pick in the draft. You're getting a stud because you're probably going to have 3 or 4 quarterbacks, or you're getting a stud, or you can trade down and maybe you get a player. But if you do that at 8, Dallas Turner may be available. That's kind of what you need. That you put Dallas Turner and Russell Wilson on Atlanta, you call it a day. That's a 10-win team. Dallas Turner really made a lot of money for himself, but I think he was going top 15 no matter what. Next up, Cincinnati Bengals. This is a plus. They were 9-8 last year, and even though on paper the defense wasn't that good, overall the team has a really, really good defense. Burrow, all he has to do is stay healthy. He's a top 5 quarterback, but he's missed, I think this is the 3rd year since he's been in the NFL. He's had a season-ending injury. It's a red flag. I don't think losing your offensive coordinator matters that much. I'm forgetting his name. It's Dan something. He's the quarterback's coach. He's now the offensive coordinator. The head coach, I'm forgetting everybody's name today, so I'm sorry about that. Bottom line, I don't think it's a big deal, but you keep Amaruno. That's huge. So Burrow stays healthy as a double-digit win team. This is a no-brainer. If you hit a home run in free agency and you keep all your players, you're in good shape. The Bengals picking at 18th is really, really interesting because they may be able to get an absolute stud at receiver. They may be able to get a piece on defense that they don't have. They could trade down. They could trade up. It's going to be fun to see what they do. There's a possibility that the Bengals could end up being the best team in the AFC North after free agency and the draft. So the Bears and Giants make sense for Wilson and his wife. I didn't think about that, but the Giants, God, that would make a lot of sense. It's kind of funny because the offense that Dable runs would be perfect for Russell Wilson. And then at 6th pick in the draft, you draft yourself a wide receiver. The Bears, if I wouldn't switch. I personally wouldn't switch Fields and Russell Wilson, but you never know what the Bears are going to do, and they have all that draft capital. So Turner or Latu, that's their number one need besides quarterback. So if they get quarterback, either one of those guys, you can put Jared Verse in there too. Oh my God, it's Hey Girl from Hey Girl TV. My man Dan, hey. We are close now. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't communicated with you that much, Cheryl. The move's been difficult. I probably should talk to you before I it's actually funny. I met with the overall property manager a few hours ago because there are some problems and we got things resolved. But you may remember the movie The Money Pit. That's kind of how I feel. They've replaced the dishwasher, the toilet. They're doing some work in the kitchen. So I love you too. I'm so glad you popped in and say hello. Tell your husband hello and your beautiful grandbaby. I should just call her your daughter, to be honest with you. But anyway, so great to see you. I'm sorry. This move's been hard. I've been kind of in a shell. My buddy Tim's called a couple times. I haven't called him back. Been meaning to give Denver Gator a shout. Didn't call him. Just the move's been tough. So. Finally, I'm sorry. AFC South. Houston Texans, I got as a push. 10 wins and a wild card victory. It wouldn't surprise me if the Texans win 11 or 12 games. Maybe get back to the divisional round. but they're not a threat to advance past the division round. To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if they go like 11-6, 12-5, and lose in the first round instead of winning in the first round. I just don't see the Houston Texans as a real threat to make that next jump. But this is a team you got your quarterback, and you got some really good pieces, but you got some holes. But I think that this is a double-digit win team. This is a team on the right track, but they're not a threat to be a Super Bowl caliber team, not yet. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm giving a plus. Ryan Nielsen's new defensive coordinator. And the first thing he's said so far is he wants to use Trayvon Walker inside. I think that's a genius move. He's not a natural pass rusher, but he's an A+ athlete. And so move him around. Let him use that. He's a big dude. He played at like 275 at Georgia. He can probably get up to 280, 290. Why not use him inside? Let him use his athleticism. And I like the fact that Nielsen wants to get a little creative with how they use him and don't lock him in. Are they going to lose Josh Allen? Probably. But if they keep Josh Allen and move Walker inside, you got something really possibly special here. The front seven's good. They got some youth in the secondary. By the way, Travis Etienne is like a poor man's version of CMC. It wouldn't surprise me if they fix that offensive line if he has just a phenomenal season. He had a good season last year. He could have a much better one. There are some questions in the offensive line. There's some questions on defense. This to me is a double-digit win team, and they're my favorite to win the AFC South. What do I think of Brandon Trice and Brandon Dolores, the defensive ends? I haven't had a chance to watch those guys yet. Braylon Trice is the only one I've watched a little bit of. And with raw defensive ends, I like that. I haven't had a chance to watch these guys. I didn't get a chance to watch all the defensive linemen yesterday. I've watched a little bit of it. So what I did is I went through social media and I saw the Fisk 478. Then I skipped to watch his workout, and I was like, yeah, this first round. This guy's going in first round. So it's not the same thing, but you remember last year, Brian Brees, Clemson defensive tackle, had some medical issues, some off-field issues. I think his sister died or something like that, so he stepped away from the team, had some issues staying healthy, and there was talk that he had first-round talent. Then he just aced the combine. Well, with Fisk, he's not the same type of he wasn't going into the draft with the same type of off-field issues, but he had a better combine. And Brees went late in the first round. So Fisk went in the first round. So I have to look at these guys a little more, Perry. Perry, if you follow me on social media, man, send me a DM with some names you want me to take a look at. I haven't had a chance to get go through all of the defensive ends. I skipped forward to a lot of the I was watching the 40-yard dash for the defensive backs, and I skipped forward because I wanted to see what Bowers ran the 40 in. Right before I came on the air, it was like 15 minutes before I went live. And then I found out that Bowers was not doing anything. Did Jags get weapons for Lawrence? I don't know, man. Here's a drill. So Jacksonville has Jacksonville picks 17th. They can go offensive line, they can go receiver, they can go defense. I have no idea. I'm still fighting with Facebook. I'm still kicked off Facebook. If I get back on Facebook and my social media links below, I'm still fighting them. They said that when I was doing the live streams for the games, when I was doing play-by-play, they said it was a Facebook said that it was a violation. And so because it was a violation, they banned me from Facebook, and I've sent them about a dozen emails, but I'm trying to get that worked out. So Nate Wiggins or Mitchell would fit nice with the Jags. They need help in the back end. Well, Wiggins is a lot like Tyson Campbell. Mitchell, after this combine, I don't see him dropping the 17. I think that's going to be help, but they need help in the back end. There's talk about Cam Robinson being cut. He's the starting left tackle. Of course, he missed 4 games this year with a PED issue. So you did draft Antoine Harrison in the first round last year. It wouldn't surprise me if they go offensive line. But at 17, they could go receiver. They could go offensive line. They need help in the secondary. But yeah, you're right. I would love if Kansas City traded up for Bowers. I don't think they'll do it, but Bowers, I think, could fall because I don't think he's going to be as big as people think. He's listed at 6'4", 240. I don't think he's anywhere close to 240. I think he's closer to 220. And he said that, I played at 235. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't think his weight has gotten up yet, and that's why he hasn't participated. I think there's a good chance he does fall. I don't think Kansas City would trade up for him, but I would love it if they did, if he's the guy that they think he is. But I don't think it's a thing that Kansas City will do. I think it's unlikely. What Kansas City's been doing is taking the receivers in the second round, and it didn't work with it worked with Rice. It didn't work with Sky Moore, but Sky Moore's a young guy. Maybe year 3 comes through. I don't think it's a move the Chiefs would do, but it depends on how far he drops, too. I mean, if he drops somewhere in the 20s, we'll find out. I do like Bowers, but I don't like him as a top 10 player. I didn't think he was. He looked like I'm not a bad judge of. I watch enough football. I kind of know, like, he's listed 6'4", 240. I don't think he's that big. I think he's more like 6'3", 220, 230. I don't think he's a guy that's going to run in the 4.4 range like people think, and I think that's the reason why he's not doing the drills. On tape, he's amazing, and I absolutely love him, but I don't think he's going to be as big or as strong as fast as people think he is. So I think if you take him in the top 10, I think you're going to be really disappointed. I don't think he's going to be that Travis Kelce, Laporta type of tight end. I think he's just going to be pretty good. I do like him. I would like it if a team like the Bengals, I saw a mock draft where he goes to the Bengals at 18. That would be a perfect spot for him. JT Von Sanders, Texas tight end. Do I like him? I want to see what he does at the combine because I haven't watched a lot of him. He's the second best tight end according to. Basically, it's Bowers number 1, and then it's step down. I saw a mock draft where Sanders goes to Kansas City at 32. I haven't had a chance to watch too much of him. He could sneak into the first round. This combine's big for him because he needs to put on a show, and that's something I'm kind of looking forward to after I get off the air tonight. You ask me that Tuesday, and we'll find out because I haven't had a chance to watch him. I do like what I've seen of him. From what I've seen, he's just inconsistent, but the talent's there. So yeah, I do like him, and I think a place like Kansas City would be great. I want to see what he does at the combine because if he does get at the combine, he may be Kansas City's pick at 32. The Indianapolis Colts are the hardest team to evaluate because I have no idea what you have in Anthony Richardson. And I saw something on social media or I think it was Dan Orlovsky, you know who I'm talking about, Lions fans, who called Josh Allen the greatest athlete ever to play quarterback. Well, Anthony Richardson's bigger, stronger, and faster. I mean, and he doesn't have the arm strength of Josh Allen, but he's got phenomenal arm. The guy couldn't stay healthy, but he really shouldn't have started this year either. What do you have out of Anthony Richardson? Did he learn anything this year being injured? Did he just sulk and feel sorry for himself? There's really no, you could go into 2024 with a complete disaster at quarterback. You could also go into 2024 with a 250-pound quarterback who runs a 4.4 with a cannon arm who's ready to play. I have no idea. None. I personally think that if Gardner Minshew would have been the day one starter, and he should have been, this team wins the division. But because they had to adapt and change the offense on the fly, then that's why you went 9-8. Keep in mind, you also had the Jonathan Taylor holdout issue. So, yeah, and Zach Moss really played well. Remember, they got him from Buffalo. That would, by the way, the Bills look like they made a big mistake in getting rid of him. But you have a really good running back in Zach Moss. You have maybe the best running back in football in Jonathan Taylor. Do you lose your number one wide receiver in free agency? That's a big one. And by the way, if I'm the Colts, I would pay Minshew a lot of money over the next couple of years. I have no idea what to expect. And that's the thing. I have no idea, Perry. If you were playing Madden, this is a 12-win team because you got this big, strong, powerful quarterback who can make every throw. But God, he played in 5 games, and he 2 out of the first 4 he was knocked out of, and then the 5th one he ended the season. So I don't know. That's why I'm giving the Colts a push on 9-8, because out of all the teams in here, I have no idea what to expect out of Anthony Richardson. If you got a guy that can't stay healthy, you're screwed. If you get a guy who's not ready to be in the NFL, because remember, he's only 21 last year. How were you when you were 21? Did you study? Did you take a lot of notes? Well, here's the drill. Anthony Richardson just got handed a boatload of money, and I don't know how to react. So, should the Colts pick a quarterback? I would not. Personally, I think it would be a big mistake. I would do everything I can to keep Gardner Minshew. That's what I would do. I have no idea how the Colts are going to handle this. That's why, of all the teams that I've done so far, the Colts, I think, are the biggest question marks. I have no idea what to think about Anthony Richardson. We're going to find out, because if there's no saying you can't make the club in the tub. If you can't stay healthy, you can't play. So we have to find out the kid can stay healthy, because it looked like early on what they were doing is just running a college-style offense, and they were really limiting his decision-making and what they were asking him to do. It looked like it was very basic football 101, and that's what you do when you have a raw, inexperienced quarterback. Well, are you doing that this year? Because if he didn't grow and he didn't advance, then you have some major problems. But can you go into year 2 and say, okay, look, I'm using this as an example, but so don't take this to heart, but let's say he had 25 plays that he had down. Well, does he have 50 now, or 75 or 100? Or are you still trying to use those same 25 plays? Because if you're still using that same playbook that you used the first couple weeks of 2023, you're in a lot of trouble. And I don't think it's really the head coach. I think it's on Anthony Richardson. Is he studying a playbook? Listen, when I was 21, do you think I was doing any studying? Oh, fuck no. I would not blame Anthony Richardson for not studying this offseason. I wouldn't be mad at him. But if he does, and he does advance and he does develop, the Colts could be the most dangerous team in the NFL, because you have this phenomenal running back, a good offensive line, a good not great but good defense, and then you have this draft coming up. You're picking, where are you picking at 15? So a lot of question marks with the Colts, but I'm giving them a push on 9 because I have no idea what to think of Anthony Richardson. Tennessee Titans, I'm also giving a push for. They were a 6-win team last year. I'm leaning towards a minus because when I watch the Cincinnati Bengals, it's a timing rhythm offense, and that's not really Will Levis's forte. And so you're going to the pass-happy offense when you had a heavy run-based team forever. But there's a lot of talent. I started going through the offensive line because I was looking at the Titans at 7, and I'm like, do I really want to pick them? Do I really want another draft pick? Because they used Kornowski last year, and he was my number 1 left tackle. They put him at guard. You kick him out the left tackle. I'm going to do a little bit of research on that because I have no idea what the Titans want to do with their offensive line. They have a lot of draft picks over the last couple of years that they've used on the offensive line. Do you want to use another one? Well, you have Callahan coming in, and you probably could draft a wide receiver here, but you're picking at 7, right? Well, Arizona's probably going to take a wide receiver. Giants are probably going to take a wide receiver. Do you want to have pick number 7 and get the 3rd best, or do you want to pick at 7 and maybe have like the number 1 offensive tackle, number 1 corner? But I'm looking at them repeating as a anywhere like a 5 to 7 win team. I don't think the Titans are going to be much of a factor this year. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really high on the Callahan hire. I would have gone in a different direction. We'll have to see what happens, but I'm also a huge Vrabel fan, so we'll find out. When they hired Vrabel, I thought it was a mistake, and I was wrong. So I may be wrong about Callahan. We'll wait and see. But right now, 6-win team. Yeah, that sounds about right. AFC West, we're finally here. Of course, we have 3 losing teams. Chargers, of course, got Harbaugh. The Raiders signed Antonio Pierce to be they took the interim label off. And, of course, Denver probably without Russell Wilson. And, of course, Kansas City won Super Bowl. This is going to be a little confusing here because Kansas City's won 12 or more games from 2018 till last year when they won 11. So I think Kansas City is going to win at least 12 games next year. But I don't think they're going to repeat as Super Bowl winners. So it's a plus on the 11. I think Kansas City's going to win 12 or more. But I don't think they're going to three-peat. And the reason why no other team in NFL history is three-peat. I think he's the wrong guy, Perry. Perry asked, do you think Callahan can turn around the Titans? I think he's the wrong guy. I look at the Bengals offense. Now, keep in mind, the head coach was Zach Taylor. He called the plays, and Callahan was the offensive coordinator. But Cincinnati's a pass-first team, and Tennessee's been a team that revolves around the running game. So you're overhauling everything, but Levis has never been a guy that's just I used the phrase natural passer. Levis is not that guy. And by the way, Denver Gay, if you're watching, I'm sorry I'm trashing your guy, but I've never seen Levis go back and throw the ball 50, 60 times a game and just pick a team apart. I didn't see that out of Kentucky. I definitely didn't see it last year. His strength is going deep and having that big gun. You use that old school Air Coryell offense like Dallas ran in the 90s under North Turner with Troy Aikman. That was a run-heavy team, but you have Troy Aikman is capable of making those throws downfield. That's the type of offense I see perfect for Will Levis. Do I think Callahan in the offense I saw with Cincinnati works with Will Levis? No, I don't. So I personally don't think it's a good fit. I think Bobby Slovic, the offensive coordinator for the Texans, I thought that would have been a great fit because the offense that Houston ran, even though it's more of a passing offense, they had some problems running the ball, but it was more of a downfield vertical offense. I think that would have been a better fit. So I don't think so, but we'll wait and see. I was wrong about Vrabel. I thought Vrabel would have been a mistake. So one thing about Kansas City is that compared to a lot of other teams in the AFC, Kansas City stayed really injury-free. A lot of times it's not the best team in the NFL. It's a team that stays the healthiest. And Kansas City, out of all the teams in the AFC, I mean, look at Cleveland. I mean, quarterback, Chubb. I mean, all sorts of players went down. Jets, Aaron Rodgers went down. Bills, the whole defense fell apart. Ravens had a bunch of injuries. Don't get me wrong. As a longtime Chiefs fan, I would love to see the Chiefs do something that's never been done before. I do think that they win 12 games or more, which is really, really hard to do. Three-peating's tough, man. Nobody's ever done it. I would love it if Kansas City be the first team to do it. I don't buy it. Now, the Raiders pick 13th in the draft, and I think that they're going to take a quarterback. There's a very, very, very excuse me. There's a very good possibility that the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback and he's going to be the day one starter. If that happens, I think the Raiders will hover around 500, but they're probably not going to be a playoff caliber team. Now, if they start Aiden O'Connell and at pick 13, they get a playmaker, then I think there's a good chance that they could be a 9-10 win team and compete for a playoff spot. Max Crosby is as good as it gets as defensive players go. I mean, he's an absolute stud. Absolute stud. I think that what the Raiders are going to do is draft a quarterback and then wait till next year before they're really competitive. And that's kind of what I see. Perry says, do you think Kansas City should retool this year, trade down for picks next year, and this year let guys go and get cap space? No, I don't. I think Kansas City should go for the three-peat. This is dynasty. And I think that when you have a dynasty, I think you should do your best to let it continue. The problem is that you got Chris Jones as a free agent who's when everything's said and done, he's going to be wearing a gold jacket. You got L'Jarius Sneed, who could ask for $100 million, and the Chiefs are like, well, we probably can't pay you, but maybe we can trade you and get something in return. They also have some really good draft picks over the last couple of years. Do I think Kansas City should retool? Absolutely not. But should they let guys go and get cap space? Absolutely, because if you lose a guy like Sneed, you could replace him with what you have and then use some of that money to get some mid-level players because the defense is really good. You need to add some pieces on offense. You need to get some more receivers. Rashid Rice played really, really well. Travis Kelce slowed down considerably. He's not going to be around forever. He'll be 35 early. Me and Travis Kelce share a birthday. I know exactly when Travis Kelce's birthday is. So that's kind of the way I look at it. If they stick with Aiden O'Connell, I would go O-line or wide receiver, but I think that they're going to go with a quarterback, and then you have to figure out. I mean, listen, with quarterbacks, it's a crapshoot. You never know. I mean, quarterbacks look good in shorts, and you turn on the lights, and sometimes they can play, sometimes they don't. If they draft a quarterback, then that's where I got them as a team hovering around 500, probably not going to go to the playoffs. If you build your team around Aiden O'Connell and give him a legitimate chance and give him a weapon at 13, maybe a wide receiver, maybe a stud offensive lineman, you got a chance for the playoffs. That's the way I see it. Would wide receiver get cut? MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he got cut just recently by the Chiefs. That freed up about $12 million in cap space. There's talk about Kadarius Toney being cut or traded. Rashid Rice and Sky Moore will be key pieces. But I fully expect Kansas City to add a free agent wide receiver plus draft one somewhere between rounds 2 and 5. It wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs use a second-round draft pick on a wide receiver for the third consecutive year. It's kind of the way I see things. That's what I would do, Perry, is roll with O'Connell and build some pieces, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, and that will kind of stall the process of growth. That's the way I see it, because Max Crosby is as good as it gets defensively. But what do you do on offense? If you draft a quarterback, you got to build some things around the offense, and that's where you have a problem. You have a problem because look at Zach Wilson, number 2 pick overall in the draft, complete disaster. You could draft somebody like that. If you draft the wrong guy, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're probably going to have to get a new head coach, maybe a new general manager. But if you draft the right guy, you're still not going to compete with Kansas City this year, but you may be able to go next year. I've been looking at that, and I've done a few mock drafts where McCarthy goes to the Raiders, and let's just say McCarthy's the guy that everybody says he is, and he's a good quarterback. It's not going to pan out this year. It'll pan out next year. But yeah, that could work. And I've done a few mock drafts so far where McCarthy goes to the Raiders. We draft Luke McCaffrey or Brandon Rice. I'm sorry about that. Wow. Sir, I don't know about either one of those guys, but you can do so many things, but I really think that the Raiders are looking at quarterback. Denver Broncos, I got a plus, and it doesn't matter who's going to play quarterback, whether it's a rookie, a veteran, or let's say you make nice and Russell Wilson comes back. It doesn't matter. Whoever's going to play quarterback for the Denver Broncos, this team's going to be better than a 9-win or an 8-win team. This is going to be a team with a winning record. Javonte Williams, I looked at his numbers. It doesn't look good, but let me tell you something. Javonte Williams can play some football, folks. Javonte Williams is a football player. If you do fantasy football, take Javonte Williams earlier than your draft guides say. He's a really, really, really good player. I'm just shotgunning water right now. I got like some frog in my throat. One thing about Vegas is that the dry air kind of hits you. I might need to get like a humidifier in here or something. Javonte Williams, draft him early in fantasy. The defense is going to be better. It made a lot of strides towards the end of the year. The quarterback's position is going to be improved. It doesn't even matter if it's a rookie. If you draft a rookie quarterback and you put him on the Raiders, it's different than drafting a rookie quarterback and putting him on the Broncos. It's a night and day situation. This is a good football team. Watch out for the Broncos. This is a team that's going to threaten that AFC West streak. I think that Denver, depending on what they do at the quarterback position, if they get a rookie and he can come in right away and he can pick up things kind of like CJ Stroud did, you got a double-digit win team, and I think that they're going to be better than the 8-9 team that you get last year. What quarterback should Vegas target? Well, Keaton Talk Sports brought up McCarthy, and I honestly think that of all the teams, McCarthy would best fit in Vegas, because I think Vegas wants to be a run-heavy team, and having a quarterback who doesn't need to put up big stats and can win games like McCarthy makes a lot of sense. We mentioned Drake May. Is there a possibility the Raiders want to trade up? Let's say they don't, and I honestly don't think that they may not be able to. So at 13, McCarthy may be gone, but he's a guy that's interesting. I love Penix, and I know there's some medical issues, but he's been clear. In the last 2 years, he's played phenomenally. The arm talent is just crazy. But I think you can go McCarthy. I think you can go Penix. I think you can go Bo Nix. Thing is, though, with Penix and Nix, you may be able to get those guys in the second round. you might be able to get him in the second round. You may be able to trade back and get one of those guys. McCarthy makes a lot more sense to Vegas than he does a lot of other teams. I don't see here's what I see out of McCarthy. I see a guy who's got some athleticism, but he played on a run-based team and he wasn't asked to do much. I don't know how that really translates into the pro game, but people are swearing up and down by it. From what I saw, I wasn't impressed. If I'm the Raiders at 13 and Penix is available, I would pull the trigger. Forget the medical issues. The talent is there. Look at who you're playing against. You're playing against Patrick fucking Mahomes. Do you want a guy whose best attributes handing the ball off? So I'm going to stand by Penix, but I'm going to watch more of the combine. I'm going to watch a lot more of McCarthy. But I'm thinking McCarthy. I would really seriously, when the Raiders pick at 13, if Penix is on the board, I would think long and hard about getting him. Absolutely. And here's the deal. There was talks about Ryan Tannehill. I finally got the name right. Going to Denver, and I think that would make a lot of sense. I think here's the drill. Sean Payton's an excellent coach, and I think he did wonders with Russell Wilson, and I think he really helped Russell Wilson out. But I think he also knows that that's not the answer. If Denver picks at 12. Let me see if I got this right. Denver picks at 12 and the Raiders pick at 13. If I'm Denver, I would also go for Penix. I sound like a broken record here. I would go for Penix because the upside is so much higher. But could Denver take somebody like McCarthy? Sure, they could. But I would take the guy who's more of a natural passer. So. Should Denver sign a cheap veteran? Yeah, they should. Gardner Minshew would thrive. You put Gardner Minshew on the Denver Broncos and then don't draft a quarterback at 12, get a player who can help you out this year, double-digit win team, no-brainer. Absolutely, they should. Can Pierce develop? I think you mean Pierce here. Develop JJ? Absolutely. And I'll tell you what I can tell you exactly what they would do. They would do the same thing they did with Aiden O'Connell. They would shorten the playbook, get them. Hey, look, what do you feel comfortable doing? We're going to be a run first team. You're on 3rd and 6 and higher. You go to Adams. Don't worry about it. So your number one coach on a hot seat, Brian Daboll of the Giants, and it's kind of funny because he was coach of the year in 2022, but a lot can happen. I personally think he made a big mistake in not giving God, how many name freezes am I going to have today? I keep forgetting names, and I feel like, God, I'm such an asshole. Here I am on YouTube, and I'm forgetting names left and right. But here's the deal. They just fucked up because they really should have given Tyrod Taylor, because that's the name. I had to look it up. He should have been the guy, and they never gave him a chance. Never gave him a chance. So I haven't had a chance to look too much at the running backs yet. There's a bunch of guys that are decent. I have a huge man crush on was it Braylon Smith, the running back out of Wisconsin, but he's not really. The thing is with Braylon Smith, he's not really a guy that is going to go early. He's not a guy that's going to go early. I haven't had a chance really to take a look at a lot of these running backs. I'm not going to lie to you, but Braylon Allen's the only one I can look at and I could say, like, I absolutely love this dude. I don't know if I really have a number one. I like Blake Corum, the running back out of Michigan. I would probably say the top one's Jonathan Brooks. A lot of comparisons to Jamal Charles, another Texas running back. None of these guys are guys that I'm like really pounding the table on. I'll be honest with you. Braylon Allen's a guy that I would love in Kansas City. Get him in the second or third round. I want to see what he runs, but I couldn't give you an answer here. I want to tell you Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. Do guys like Will Shipley? He can catch and run. Dude, I love guys that can do it all. In this day, you got to do everything. That's another thing I want to see about Braylon Allen is how well he can operate in the passing game. Because that was one thing I really knocked about Jonathan Taylor was I didn't think he was that good of a receiver. He's not a great receiver, but he's not bad. And I want to see what Braylon Allen can do because Braylon Allen's a guy I think that could really boost his draft stock, especially if he runs like in the 4.5 range and he's like at 240. He's probably of all the running backs, Braylon Allen's the number one guy I'm paying attention to. But as far as my number one, I don't know. Next up, Los Angeles Chargers. This is a no-brainer. But I really am curious how Harbaugh's going to handle this because Harbaugh's a run-first coach, and the Chargers have been a passing team forever. So how much is he going to try and change what he does to what the team's built as? See, like Harbaugh would have been a better fit for a team like the Tennessee Titans. But, excuse me. When everything's said and done, I don't think that they're going to draft fifth. They have the fifth pick in the draft. I think they're going to trade down. I think they're going to add a bunch of former Wolverines. I have no idea what to expect, but I would bet anything that they'll win more than 5 games. But I have no idea what to expect out of the Chargers, and I'm kind of curious, are they going to switch their identity completely overnight, or are they going to be more of a passing team? We'll see. This is kind of everything here, and I'm going to keep touching base on this during the off season, and I'll make changes to this. But as you can see here, Buffalo, I got as a push, as an 11-win team. Push as a division round team. Miami's a minus. Jets and Patriots, kind of no-brainer. They'll be better in 2024 than they were in 2023. Baltimore is a small minus. Still my favorite to win the North. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, both pushes. Cincinnati's a plus. Houston's a push, even though I like Jacksonville. Jacksonville's my favorite to win the South, but could Houston be a push? Could they make could they win a could they be a double-digit win team? Absolutely, and that's kind of what I expect. I would be shocked if Houston didn't make the playoffs. I just think that Jacksonville will win that division. I have no idea what to expect out of the Colts. And Tennessee, I'm not sold on Callahan. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he proves me wrong. Kansas City, I expect to win 12 or more games, but they're not going to three-peat. Vegas is a push, but I'll move that up to a plus if they don't start a rookie quarterback. Denver and the Chargers are also a plus. So that's my AFC preview. See, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And sometimes you can be a better player and have the stats not equal up. But Austin Eckler is going to be a free agent. I don't think he wants anything to do with the Chargers. Do you want to draft an offensive lineman at 5? Because there's a lot of really high draft capital on that offensive line. You got Holt, right tackle. Do you want to use the 5th pick in the draft to address right tackle? It might be a little high. A lot of mock drafts, including Keaton, has Brock Bowers going to the Chargers at 5. I don't think you can do that because I think you're going to lose either Khalil Mack or Joey Bosa. If you do that, do you want to replace that? I mean, you had 48 sacks last year. That's a good number. That's the one thing you did good. But when I look at the Chargers, I'm looking at a team with a bad defense and a good offense. And if I lose one of my key pass rushers and I'm picking at 5th and I could pick anybody, Dallas Turner makes a lot of sense. Maybe the Chargers running the ball makes her absolutely. Absolutely. But here's the drill. If you're the Chargers, you used your first round pick last year on Quentin Johnston. You should have drafted Brian Branch. I didn't think Brian Branch would get past the Chargers. That was a big mistake. So you got Quentin Johnston. They used a 3rd round pick out of Tennessee. I'm drawing a complete blank. Was it Joshua Turner or something? Anyway, 2 really good young receivers. And you're probably going to lose Allen or Williams. You're probably not going to lose both. So do you really need a receiver or Bowers there? By the way, Blake Corum to the Chargers in the 3rd round would make a lot of sense. You're going to see a lot of Michigan players join the Chargers. So. Will Russell Wilson be a post-June cut or before June? I don't know the contract situation. And it's funny because Keys hit me up, or Keys told me about the contract situation, and I'm just drawing a complete blank. The way the contract's set up, I think if I'm correct, I think it works out better post, but I'm guessing. I think what the Denver Broncos are doing right now is they're trying to work out some sort of trade compensation where they'll take the large amount of dead money, but they can get something in return. And I think that's kind of what they're trying to figure out. And I don't know if that's going to happen before the draft or after the draft. So it may be that they just cut them completely. Well, I'll look that up though, Perry. I'll look that up and I'll have an answer for you Tuesday because I'm not on Facebook anymore. I've sent them a dozen emails. I'm trying to get that figured out. I mean, the only issue I have against that is that you have Jeremy Slayer, who was a 6th round pick, earned a guard spot, and then when forgetting everybody's fucking name today. The left tackle out of Northwestern who played phenomenal as a rookie. When he went down, you moved Slayer over to left tackle. And then you moved him back to guard. Then you had to kick him out to right tackle. He played awesome. You have Zion Williamson, who's also a 1st-round draft pick. So you got a couple 1st-round draft picks and a 6th-round pick who played awesome. You also have a hole at center, I believe. You got to, if I'm the Chargers, I don't know if I need that. I think they're going to lose Bosa or Khalil Mack. They're going to lose one of those guys. So, do you think Harbaugh can develop Johnson? I think it's just a matter of time because he's got all the physical tools. He was a raw dude, and it's just going to take time. And ideally, he steps up this year because it was early on. It was Joshua Turner, I think. But he earned a number 3 spot in training camp fast. But then he didn't pan out. I think he should. He's got all the physical tools you want. He's 6'4", body control, size, speed, everything. He was my number 1 receiver. He was just really, really raw. If he has a big year this year, because here's the deal. They're going to lose Williams or going to lose Allen. They're probably not going to lose both. So Johnston has to take a big role in the offense this year. He has to have a big role. I think the answer that you're asking is I'm going to say yes. Is he going to be like a 60 catch, 800 yard, 5 touchdown guy, or is he going to be that 80 catch, 1200 yard, 10 touchdown guy? That we don't know. But he's got all tools in the world. That's the whole thing. They got left tackle. Rashawn Slater, that's who it is. So they drafted Rashawn Slater 10th overall 2 years ago, and as a rookie, he played phenomenal. Then he went down. They moved Jeremy Slayer from right guard to left tackle. He played awesome because he played left tackle at Georgia. So Slayer moved over to the right side. You got Zion Williamson. He's also a first-round draft pick. All right? So, I mean, that's a lot of draft capital on the offensive line. Do you need it? Because you got a guy in Slayer who played really well at right tackle. He can also cover left tackle. Rashawn Slater comes back. He's your star. He was a Pro Bowler as a rookie. Rashawn Slater played awesome. He got injured last year. Rashawn Slater stays healthy. He was the 10th overall pick in the draft. He's a really good player. I have Alt rated higher than Slayer. Rashawn Slater. But yeah. If you draft, so here's the drill. If you draft Alt, you're going to put him at right tackle, right? And you're going to move Jeremy Slayer to right guard. You have Zion Williamson as your left guard, and you get Slater, and then you have to figure out what to do at center because I think there's a hole at center. So that's what if you draft Joe Alt at 5, you're putting him at right tackle, not left tackle. So. That's what I have. I would if I had to bet what the Chargers will trade down because they got 2 picks in the 7th round and that's it. They don't have any other extra draft picks. They just pick 5th in every single round, and then they got an extra pick at the bottom of the 7th. They have a lot of holes. You got to trade down. That's what you got to do. You got to trade down. When everything's said and done, the Chargers are not going to pick 5th. I'd almost bet anything on that. If they do pick 5th, I think Dallas Turner could be available. And if you lose Mack or Bosa or maybe both, I think it's more likely they lose Bosa and Mack than they do Allen and Williams. I think they lose one, but we're going to find out in March. That's why the mock draft I'm going to release on the 11th is going to be a lot different than the mock draft I'm going to release in April because the Chargers are going to lose some players. It's just a question of who, and we don't know. But yeah, I think the Chargers are going to trade down. The Bears are a team that could trade down. I think Tennessee at 7 is another team that could trade down, but the Chargers out of that top 10, I think they're the team most likely to trade down. So, guys, if nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. I'm having some issues after 2 hours of talking. This is my second bottle of water, also a thing of coffee. I might have to get like a little humidifier or something. The heat's not been an issue in February or now March, but the dry air does kind of mess with me or something. But Zach Frazier or Cedric Van Prath, both centers could be absolutely both those guys could be available. I'm drawing a blank on his name here. I'm gonna look it up real fast. The guy that I'm drawing a complete blank on, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon. He's probably not going to be available in the 2nd round. If he is, he might be he would be a plug and play guy. That's why I don't think he's going to be involved. I could actually see him going to Pittsburgh. Zach Zinter is, according to Bucky Brooks' top 5 list, which I hold in pretty high regard, has a Michigan Zach Center. And you're going to see a lot of former Wolverines going to the Chargers. But that could be a guy that you take in the 3rd or 4th round. So I'm going to wrap up, guys. My social media is below. Perry, I'm working on getting Facebook. I've sent them a dozen emails. I got kicked off Christmas Day. I've sent multiple emails. I have not heard anything back. I think sooner or later I'll be back on Facebook. But I'm not sure when. So that's kind of where I'm at. So if that's it, if anybody has any final thoughts, questions, concerns, anything else, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button. First mock draft, tentatively March the 11th. I was trying maybe to get something Monday. I'm not going to because I still have to watch a lot of day one. I'm not even finished with everything for today. I just watched some DB drills and the 40 times, and that's all I've done so far. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the tight ends, and I need to go back because I saw the 40 times, and then when I saw Fisk with that, I think it was 479 or something like that. Then I went and watched his drills, but I want to watch more of the defensive linemen. That's just kind of more for me because I think the Chiefs are going to draft a defensive tackle in the first couple rounds. You know, even if Chris Jones is re-signed. So that's just kind of for me. But and then keep in mind receivers are tomorrow, and I really want to take a look at these receivers. The Chiefs have followed a trend drafting receiver in the second round, and it didn't work out with Sky Moore as of right now, but it did work out for Rashid Rice. So I really want to watch these receivers because I've been telling people somewhere between rounds 2 and 5, the Chiefs will draft a receiver. Are they getting one of the top 4 or 5 receivers in draft? No, but Rashid Rice, or is he like the 8th or 9th best receiver? Is there really 8 or 9 better rookie receivers than Rashid Rice? Probably not. So. Guys, social media is below. I'm trying to work on Facebook, Perry. As soon as I do, I will try to look you up and send a friend request. And I will be back on. I'm going to stick with Tuesday and Friday for right now. And then my mock draft, the first one will be released on March the 11th. So, guys, have a great weekend. And hopefully I'll see you all back on Tuesday.